Good afternoon, folks. It's Alistair McConaughey here, broadcasting from the great British city of Glasgow once again. And we are here in the fine constituency of Glasgow Pollok. And in the background there, you will see Crookston Castle. So we've come up to Crookston Castle in the district of Crookston within Glasgow Pollok for today's broadcast. And let's just take a little bit of a walk around the fence here of Crookston Castle, which sits in the heart of the Crookston area of Glasgow Pollok. Now, many of you know that we need to get the sitting MSP in this constituency out. That is Humza Yousaf, the Injustice Secretary of the SNP, a man who is responsible for several terrible actions in our great country here. And we need to get Humza out. We need to get Humza out at the great Scottish Ejection, which is coming up on the 6th, of May. Humza has to go. That's the message all round. Humza has to go. Now, we wanted to get into the castle there, the Crookston Castle, but it's all shut off. And why is it all shut off? Well, it's shut off for our own safety, because apparently if we go in there, we're at risk, okay? We're at risk of catching COVID, okay? We're at risk of catching castellated COVID if we go in there. And so they've shut it off for our own safety. Isn't that nice of them? Oh man, who's getting tired of all of this nonsense? We're certainly getting tired of it. It's been going on for so long and it's just so bloody stupid. Excuse me for my profanity there, but really, how else do you describe it? Shutting off Crookston Castle for our own safety because of COVID. Come on. Anyway, what is that? It's the second oldest building in Glasgow after the cathedral. And apparently, it was set up originally back in the 1100s by Robert de Croc, who gave his name to, in fact, this area of Glasgow called Crookston. And then it was rebuilt back in the checks notes. It was rebuilt back in around 1400 or thereabout by the Darnley Stewarts. And it's actually been bombarded as well by Mons Meg, because apparently the sitting owner of it got a disagreement with James IV. So James IV brought up Mons Meg from Edinburgh Castle and bombarded whoever was sitting in there at the time, and unsurprisingly changed his mind as a consequence of the bombardment. So that's Crookston Castle. This is the first time I've ever been out to Crookston Castle, I have to say. And it really is a nice area of town here. Just that's Pollok in the background, and the structure you can see there, that's Hawkhead Asylum Water Tower. And actually next week we might go out and pay that a visit as well, just to see what all that's about. But remember, folks, the message here at the end of the day is we have to get Humza out of this constituency, out of Glasgow Pollok, here in the great British constituency of Glasgow Pollok. We have to get Humza out, and we have to purge the scourge at the Scottish election, which is coming up on Thursday, the 6th of May. Now, as you know, you'll have 2 ballot papers when you walk in. We're asking people who support Scottish independence, please, this time around, don't vote for Humza, because Humza is against free speech, and Humza is bringing in policies which are anti-women as well. And so he's really an all-round bad egg, okay? Humza is an all-round bad egg. So we're asking people who would normally support the SNP in this area, simply don't vote for him this time around. There are other options on the ballot paper if you want to support Scottish independence, but simply do not vote for the SNP and do not vote for Humza, because Humza has to go. Now, you'll also have a second ballot paper as well, which is for the Glasgow region, which will have different parties on it as well. So there's going to be plenty of choices. That's the point. There's going to be plenty of choices here in Glasgow Pollok. In fact, all in all, you're going to have 23 different options to vote for on the ballot paper. So there's absolutely no reason to vote for Humza, okay? Do not vote for Humza Yousaf. Do not vote for the SNP. And there we see Crookston Castle in the background, because I'm here today in Crookston, which is part of the constituency of Glasgow Pollok, okay? And unfortunately, our sitting MSP is Humza Yousaf, and he has to go. This is the time to get rid of this guy. He got in, basically, he snuck in last time around because too many people in this constituency didn't bother to vote at all, okay? In this constituency of Glasgow Pollok, over half the constituency did not bother to vote at all. So Humza got his vote out and everybody else stayed in bed. And that is why today we have an Injustice Secretary in the shape of Humza Yousaf, who is anti-free speech, he's anti-women, and of course, he's anti-UK. He's bringing in the divisive politics of Scottish nationalism, which are intended to destroy the greatest country the United Kingdom the world has ever known. So let's do this, folks. Let's purge the sturge. Now, if you are in Glasgow South Side, that's Nicola Sturgeon's constituency. So you might consider, again, not voting for her. Because imagine if she got knocked out by the Labour man, Anas Sarwar. Imagine that. It would change Scottish politics forever. And if you're living in Glasgow South Side, you can do that. You can change Scottish politics by simply purging the sturgeon. You can do that. Purge the sturge. Okay? And there's other critical constituencies as well. If you're in Edinburgh Central, you can ensure that Angus Robertson, the soon-to-be forgotten one, is sent homewards to think again. If you're in Perthshire North, you can get rid of John Swinney and get him in the wheelie binny. So there's all these options that you can do to get rid of the Scottish National Party, because we have to change the direction of Scottish politics, which for the last 14 years has been on a terribly bad path. For the last 14 years, we have been heading towards the breakup, the destruction of the United Kingdom. And we have to get this guy out. Alan Ford says support for Sturgeon is dwindling. Stephen says purge the sturge. Absolutely. Send in your comments, folks. Morwena missed us, but she's back here rooting for us. Good stuff. And good morning to Arnie. Folks, if you're watching on Twitter, please retweet this. If you retweet it with a positive comment, then that means we can retweet your comment to 26,000 people. So please do retweet this message. If you're watching on YouTube, please make sure you subscribe and hit that bell for notifications. And if you're watching on Facebook, please do share this, okay? This is all about purging the sturge. It's all about giving Humza the heave. It's all about getting rid of that man on the 6th of May. Only 14 days to go. Only 14 days to go. 2 weeks today. 2 weeks today, we are going to purge the sturge. Isn't that a great phrase? We're going to purge the sturge. Finally and eventually, we are going to be able to do that. Good, folks. Send in your comments. Love to read what you've got to say. Ryan, Frankie, And Ryan says, time for a change. Isn't it definitely time for a change? Okay, folks, we've also got exciting news about activism that we'll be doing as well in the coming days. So please do keep an eye on our social media sites for what we're doing. Up there in the background is Crookston Castle here in the constituency of Glasgow Pollok, where we are going to get Humza out. And what a celebration we will have when we get a Humza out, folks. What an absolute celebration, because that man, Humza, has to go. Humza has to go here from the constituency of Glasgow Pollok. Behind me. We've got several more broadcasts of these from the constituency. We're here in Crookston at the moment. Here in Crookston, which is part of Glasgow Pollok. Now, what else is part of Glasgow Pollok? Because a lot of people won't actually necessarily know if they're living in this constituency and if they can vote to get Humza out. So I'll tell you who lives in Glasgow Pollok. If you're in Govan, anything west of the Govan train station, you are in Glasgow Pollok. Anyone near BAE Systems, anyone near Elder Park, Linthouse, Shield Hall, south to Drummoyne, Pennylee, Hillington, Cardonald, Craigton, here in Crookston, Ross Hall, Moss Park, Hoch Hill, Corker Hill, Rough Muscle, Priest Hill, House Hill Wood, the Silverburn Centre area, Nitz Hill. We're going to go into Nitz Hill next week for some history in the constituency. Darnley, Park House, Arden and Jenny Lind areas. So if you're in any of these areas, you can make sure that you don't vote for Humza Yousaf. Make sure, if you want to vote tactically, then here in Glasgow Pollok, the tactical vote would be for the Labour man. If you want to vote for Indy, there are parties standing that are not the SNP who want Indy, so vote for them instead. If you're an independent supporter, just don't vote for the SNP, because the SNP is bringing in anti-Scottish policies which are against our values. You know, it was here in Scotland that we had the Scottish Enlightenment, okay? The Scottish Enlightenment, which was a huge thing as far as the promotion of reason and logic and rationality was concerned. So it's horrific that here in the land of the Scottish Enlightenment, which gave the world the principles of logic and reason and so on, that gave the world the idea that it is healthy and proper to open up our ideas to debate. The land that gave the principle to our democratic society that the truth emerges through the clash of competing ideas. It is absurd that the land that gave the world the idea of freedom of speech and debate and inquiry should suffer under this absurd anti-free speech law that has been brought in by this man who is completely against those Scottish values of freedom of speech, freedom of debate, and freedom of inquiry. So you cannot support him if you believe in these Scottish values. You cannot support him at all. So please, folks, you know, if you are indie, just sit this one out or vote for any of the other parties that are on the ballot paper and that also support indie. And remember, there's going to be 23 of them in Glasgow alone, 23 different things, people and parties that you can vote for. So please do that this time around. And if you want to get Humza out, then there are lots of good people that you can vote for instead as well. And also Sturgeon out and the SNP generally, because the way things are looking, they're going to get a big surprise. You know, hubris is going to come to them. They are going to realize that they have been too cocky for too long, and that finally, the Scottish people are waking up to see what is going on. Folks, please do share this. Please do share this. We're here in Crookston, in the great British city of Glasgow. And on the 6th of May, we're going to get Humza out. Okay, folks, thank you for watching. Please do share this video. See you tomorrow.